Number 5.
The Last Game is an action roguelite adventure where you battle fierce enemies and build unique characters with artifacts you find during your journey. The game features 5 floors, 13 bosses, and 80 different items to experiment with. You can also play with your friends with up to 4 players in co-op mode, opening up even more strategies. The game is currently in early access, and the developer is looking for feedback in a number of areas, including difficulty, balancing, new characters and items, and overall gameplay mechanics. And while I created this weekly series to shed light on cool projects made in the Godot Engine, I hope it also provides an opportunity to connect playtesters and developers who truly need someone to just play the game they've been working so hard to create. So you can check out The Last Game on Steam.
Number 4.
Puzzle games are difficult to make. If your main gameplay loop doesn't work, then you're in trouble. Sometimes simplifying the puzzle mechanic allows you to create variations and therefore a fun experience for the player. Unloop gets rid of text, tutorials, timers, and other distractions and goes for a more minimalist and calm puzzle gaming experience. Your goal is simple: eliminate all the blue portals, but this simple mechanic has been crafted into 150 different levels with increasing complexity. Created over 2 years by a solo developer, Unloop challenges you while also guiding you in new mechanics and puzzle elements, because the goal isn't to frustrate, but give the player a puzzle to think on and solve. You can check out the game on Steam.
Number 3.
Meet Krog. He's a mysterious blue creature in a red loincloth, and he's here to kick some boss butt. Primal Light is a classic 2D platformer filled with a labyrinth of ladders, levers, traps, and monsters. It features striking 16-bit graphics, 10 levels, and 10 challenging bosses that you'll have to beat down arcade style. The gameplay focuses on traditional platforming, overcoming obstacles and defeating enemies as you progress through each level, and it's another example of what Godot already does really well, 2D. For us older folks, the fact that games like this can be made by small teams, self-published, and sell is pretty amazing. And while some people might tire of seeing 2D platformers these days, I think it's a great reminder of how far the art form has come and how accessible it is with engines like Godot. You can play Primal Light right now on Steam.
Number 2.
That Skull game, or Skullbat, or Cranium, at least that's what I could find for the name, comes from the Twitterverse. There isn't a whole lot of information yet from what I could find, but it shows off a very unique art style and is another recent Unity to Godot migration. Plus, I'm very into FPS games now because of my recent work on the Godot FPS project, link in the description, so it's great to see some FPS work being done in Godot. The visual style is almost monochromatic and really reminds me of the classic FPS games like Heretic and Hexen, with its flying enemies and pixelated lighting. This is one to keep an eye on, especially because it's essentially a Unity port now, which is something we're seeing more and more of these days. And before we get to our number 1 spot, congrats to last week's winner, Road to Vostok, earning a place in our 2023 Godot Project of the Year tournament. And don't forget to vote for your favorite in the comments below.
And number 1.
Disinfection is a sci-fi horror game developed by a 2-person team. Set in the depths of space, you can either play alone or as part of a crew of 4 players. Your mission is to identify and destroy deadly nanomachine outbreaks through a number of procedurally generated ships, while also fighting off some not-so-friendly co-passengers. The dangers of space are all too real as you're threatened by decompression, lack of oxygen, and ship-wide malfunctions. Those on your team can also be out to get you as well, so trust nothing. The amount of work done by just 2 people is staggering. With replayability through unique infections and procedurally generated environments, it sounds like a good time to get all space spooky with your friends. And there are plans for VR support in the future, so check it out on Steam.